Welcome back, everyone. It's time for the final match here at the Breakout Series event number 3, where we are going to see Sotoras Esports take on Tekka Dynasty to see who will be our final team to make it into championship day number 2 alongside Mafty and Last Second.
Yeah, we get to see Tekka Dynasty again right after, this is basically the lower bracket run that we're following through. We'll see if they can secure that top 3 spot at the very least and play again tomorrow, or if this is the end of their run.
They've been doing so well, not just within this tournament, but the previous tournaments as well. Of course, getting second 2 tournaments ago, not being able to enter the previous tournament, but coming back even stronger this time. But I love to see this storyline, which we've actually seen quite a bit on these tournaments, where the 2 teams that lost in the winners semifinals to the 2 teams that are currently locked into day 2 are now playing for that final top 3 spot. So this is not a rematch of a match that we've seen before. This is not a run back. This is a totally fresh match between 2 different teams that both want their rematches, but only one of them can actually earn it.
Yeah, and with what we're seing right now of coming out from the teams in the upper bracket, I mean, they won their matches in pretty convincing fashion. So it's going to be a difficult task, regardless of which team ends up securing this 3rd spot.
Like I said, I really want to see the Tekka Dynasty versus Last Second rematch. I loved that set. That one was super fun to watch. But also, we now don't know whether or not Sotoras will do really well against them or in their rematch up against Mafty. There's just really no way to know. And again, I say it all the time. I'm really happy that every team is getting better, especially the teams like Sotoras that are sticking together consistently. Same thing with Tekka Dynasty, despite the fact they couldn't enter last time. There's a lot of the same players that we're seeing over and over, like, for example, like Dark and Fester, and they're really starting to gel even more as a team, and they're really finding their niche. And I really feel like with the changes in Season 3 and the addition of Hyperion, they've found their best spot so far, but their best spot so far might end up at a 4th place run if they can't overcome Sotoras Esports.
Yeah, for Sotoras, I mean, we didn't really get to see much of them. It was very unfortunate, at their first match of the day, right? The bracket drew the bracket drew Mafty, and so we didn't really get to see that much. And so I feel like there's still so much more of them, and I feel like this is going to be an extremely close match.
Yeah, I could see that very much happening. But the fact that they made it all the way back, of course, through the losers bracket is huge. I do think we have the map picks and bans starting to become available. So let's see where we're going to go for our final match of the day. Of course, we're going to start off with the bans. And Tekka Dynasty has a pretty solid strategy overall. They're going to be starting off by banning Colony Trading Post. That can be a very chaotic spot. Looks like Sotoras doesn't want to go to Harbor City for the long-range fights.
Yeah, I feel like these are very familiar bans coming out from either side. It's gonna be Flak Fort. That's the first pickup from Tekka Dynasty. Very interesting coming out from them. And I'm glad that we are getting to finally see some more Flak Fort after the last event that I was able to cast, where I feel like maybe we only saw it once, if at all. Quarry will actually be the pick for Sotoras here.
This is feeling like a very early on map pick and ban list, like Flak Fort and Quarry. What would be the last one? I feel like we're probably going to get Mountain R&D. No, we're not. Underground Command Center. Okay, so we're going to 0 domination missions throughout this entire thing. And even though we've been in some sets that haven't had domination, I think they've had it in the map pool, I guess. It's usually the decider. This one, we're guaranteed to not go to that at all. It's going to be a lot of these mid-range. We've got the double destruction mission going on, and then, of course, the single point capture. So this is going to be, I feel like, a real, not like heavy, like one big push type of set. This is going to be kind of like a back and forth. These teams are going to be filling each other out. And like I mentioned, they haven't played each other in this tournament. So you do kind of want to take it a little bit slow, see how things go before you make your full commitments.
Yeah, and again, like we said, we didn't get to see that much out of Sotoras. There were only 2 maps, and it was one in convincing fashion coming out from, well, our tournament champion so far 2 times in a row, right? Coming out from Mafty. So it wasn't the best. It wasn't, I think the true showing of what Sotoras have in store for us. So I'm really excited about this match.
Me too. I mean, the fact that they made Mafty at least like bleed a little bit was a really good sign, because so far nobody's been able to do that. But of course, if they want to try it again, they're going to have to re-earn their spot. We're going to get this first map of our final set of the day set up. Don't go anywhere. We're going to jump right back into it when we get back. And we're jumping into Flak Fort, the first map of Sotoras versus Tekka, our final set of the day. It looks like we are going to start off with some pretty similar comps. However, I don't know if Chaotic's actually going to stay on this Gym Sniper. That would be a really interesting switch to see.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to basically play off of that, especially because really when you're trying to play the Gym Sniper, you're trying to find the picks on the bridges. No team plays on the bridges anymore. If they can afford him the space, possibly on the left side ramp, then maybe he can try to get some value off of there, but it's so hard to have that presence up there. We do have, it looks like the double tank setup though, so Dark Infestor and Azor might actually be able to buy that space with that tanking lineup.
We, of course, are going to see the Barbados on the other side coming out of Boondiggles. That is another, I guess, now signature Barbados player that we're seeing. One of those kind of loyalists, you could say. Chaotic will be switching back at the very last second. Of course, just kind of trolling us a little bit. But we are actually going to see Azor popping out here with the Gym Sniper. I'm curious if we're going to see an attempt to pick and then a run back. No. Maybe? I'm actually not sure. I mean, this is a full push forward. This doesn't look like they're giving any sort of time for the switch. But that means they're not going to have that Sazabi to push in with. Oh, there we go. There is a switch, but that's kind of slow. Oh, just barely avoiding the maze.
Yeah, I mean, they did get that initial pick with his help, right? He got the body shot onto one. Unfortunately, they weren't able to get the finish off, and they were able to get the repair on the skill issue side, and now things are starting to fall apart for the defense. They've ended up losing out on 3 straight onto point. Is Tekka Dynasty now with coilovers, gets chased down. They do have to be careful here. Keiko will end up falling, it looks like, ultimately, as Red Protocol. He has been so aggressive in hunting down these staggers. 2 ticks coming in from Tekka Dynasty, and that's going to be all she wrote on the first half.
Red Protocol, such a monster today on multiple different suits, but I know we have a lot of Red Protocol fans in the chat. I can't even say it, and for very good reason. But that was a very quick take on point A, and now they got to get through the choke point. Luckily for skill issue, they are already in a great position to defend, at least in this kind of Z little choke point area.
Yeah, take a look at the difference between these Barbados right now, though. Remember, Chaotic ended up swapping off, and he already has more progress towards his G maneuver. And with that cleanup, they only lose out on Hawklight. 5 of them are going to push onto point. Ashmar, Red Protocol has that punch. We'll go ahead and make it out of dodge with 100 HP. The rest of his squad is here. Dark Fester on that low ground with his team. Chaotic comes in, and that's the focus fire on to that member to take him out. They're going to try and get the repair. Nice body block coming out from Dark Investor to try and get that repair off. And Tekka Dynasty now on the verge of securing a second tick with almost no defense.
Oh my gosh, this is so fast. This has been one continuous push, and they're about to get, like you said, the second tick. They need to clear a few more players off of the point. They are taking a few losses, though. Dark Infestor and Robot both going down. This looks like this is going to be the push back. That's actually a great defensive hold to stop that. That was literally like less than a second away from getting that second tick, and now they're going to be able to push them back, hold on to the first tick, hopefully let that meter cool down a little bit, and retake their space.
Yeah, the difference, though, for Tekka Dynasty this time around, they'll have some more G maneuvers to play off of. The Screaming Nimbus is there for Hawklight, but with Red Protocol going down, we can't do anything off of it. And they're getting close to that Barbados G maneuver as well. So One Trick Tony has to be ready to respond to it. He does throw down that AoE, and there it is, the Barbados G maneuver. Chaotic coming up with 4, and they are instantly onto the point, dealing with one last member here. And that is going to be the enemy Barbados falling. The second tick will absolutely get secured along with the third skill issue. Need to just stop them from getting the full cap.
Oh my gosh, everybody knows that once they make a play, they can, oh no, oh, got caught on the wall. That's super unfortunate for Dark Infestor. Didn't get really the mileage out of it that they wanted, but they're still in such a good position here. They're just cleaning up so many different suits, and that is going to be the full capture. One big opportunity to fight back from skill issue, but they just weren't, oh, I'm sorry, not skill issue. It says SI on the top. It's Sotoras Esports, but they just weren't able to quite get it. I guess just, I don't know, hold that positioning, right? It was all down to them not being able to fight back at the Z choke point. There's no other good way to explain it, right? But if they can just hold that spot, they could hold for a really long time. I think this death ball kind of, I don't know, like team comp, it's not really a death ball, but like the double tank with the melee, it's just so aggressive. It's like a spearhead comp, I guess you could say, from Tekka Dynasty, and that has just been so strong at pushing through these choke points.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of that is really, if we're going to talk about, having a spear point head, well, the Lancer, right? With Dark Infestor and a lot of our Pale Rider players swapping on over to him, it's great because you get to see how much more initiative they get to take, how much less resources have to be put on to that consistent DPS of basically a hit scan, right? I'm sorry, I'm still taken aback by how small that unit is, but he's just able to play a lot more aggressive with it. We got to see it in the past, Tism doing it as well, but every single Hyperion player has been extremely aggressive. They're no longer having to sit far back like a Pale Rider would.
It's cool. Like it really plays for the aggressive. It plays well for the aggressive Pale Rider players, which definitely I think that's a good descriptor of Dark Infestor, who we've seen pretty much every single tournament so far, and that just seems to be really a suit that's clicking with him. Absolutely, but we do, of course, we stand our short kings here, and I love to see the Hyperion play really from everybody so far today.
Yeah, no presence, of course, from the defense here on the bridge. Chaotic. Looks like he is holding that high ground angle with Dark Infestor. He's going to be the one to peel. Benugas is able to get up. What? Just for free? Hello? What happened, Chaotic? You were supposed to help your boy out. Now Dark Infestor goes down, and this is going to be a free push for Sotoras.
Oh my gosh, Boondiggles is just destroying their entire team right here. Just getting these free picks. Nobody's even paying attention to them. This is just like, oh, yep, I know exactly how to maneuver around this building. I control the vertical space, and if you are not looking in my direction, I'm going to one-shot you, which is exactly what happened. Really great stuff. The Barbados play over the past few tournaments has been amazing.
Yeah, the Ashamar saving Chaotic at that point. Boondiggles. We gave him some flack on the last round because he was kind of struggling trying to find an opening, but here on the offense he has been doing so much more. You can see he's already 50% towards his G maneuver now. The point finally swapping on over. We're going over to B now, as we'll see if Sotoras can find an opening here. They're gonna have to do it dry though. Red Protocol on the other side. He's close to that punch, and if you want to, an initial G maneuver to utilize, that punch is extremely great. That's a 1-for-1 exchange though as the Exio goes down.
Oh yeah, coilover's going down. It might be big here, but the fact that both the tanks now are gone on the side of Tekka Dynasty, I feel like that's going to mean that this is a huge push in. Even if they did lose a few members themselves on the side of Sotoras Esports, they're at least going to get this good positioning, right? Even if they don't make the full push into the point here, which it looks like they actually will, just winning that high ground positioning is gigantic because they have to push up through choke points now on the defensive side, and you do not want to do that.
Yeah, Dark Infestor 2v1 possibly? No, he actually had the backup of Hawklight there. He will ultimately go down, but that is the defense. Able to swat them down, force them back. Chaotic finding some on the retreat, fighting a little bit more. No, never mind. He will go ahead and back away. So unfortunately for Sotoras, they were not able to get much at all. And so that's back to square one. They still have plenty of time though. 3 minutes and 40 seconds as Chaotic tries to go in. Again, it's kind of like fishing with a spear.
Yeah, that is pretty true, honestly. It's just, you just got to get that one big pick, but oh, this is a huge choke point here, and that was actually a good amount of damage that did get healed up, but that is a huge punch. That is 3 or maybe 4 units hit by that punch, and that is going to set them back an entire push. Beautiful, beautiful stuff there. That's all you need. That was the perfect time to save that for. We've seen so many Ashmars, even the good ones, use the punch in situations where it was a little bit too early or just hold on to it a little bit too long. That one was just optimal.
And really unfortunately for Sotoras, I believe they used the punch themselves, so that was an opening that they were trying to utilize, but they will have the Gundam Unicorn G maneuver along with that Barbados. We'll see if they can get value. Royal Fat Man ends up finding one. There's a second with that Unicorn G maneuver, but it's still Chaotic in the back line. Finding some value for his squad. Trans Am has been popped for coilovers as well. And Sotoras are actually spending a lot into this, but they still haven't cleared out the point. Finally, they will send them back as they try to chase after the rest of the members of Tekka Dynasty. They back away just in time as that Trans Am goes down. Royal Fat Man with another pick onto Hawklight as well. That's the second tick coming in for Sotoras.
Oh, we do have some really nice G maneuvers available here. They kind of doubled up on their targets. I don't know if they're going to get as much damage as they want. They are at least going to push a lot of the members of TKD into a little corner where they can be AoE down, but they weren't able to get any kills really with that double G maneuver. Okay, finally Boondiggle's coming out, getting some great picks, but they might not be able to even get this third tick with a great cleanup from Dark Infestor once again.
Yeah, now things are looking so troubling because Sotoras ended up basically using all of their G maneuvers for that push. And we'll come down to the punch, and it's really unfortunate that for Royal Fatman, he's kind of been, you know, out of sync in terms of G maneuvers, right? Like when his team has it, he doesn't have his, so they haven't been able to quite coordinate the way they want around it. We'll see though. He is going to be basically the playmaker for his squad. With that G maneuver available, we'll see if he finds an angle to get in there, but it's going to be so difficult, especially on the other side. There are so many G maneuvers available for TKD.
Yeah, and some really tough ones to get past D, like I guess on the offense too, you know. Just one Screaming Nimbus can hold off nearly an entire push on this map, or it can knock people off if they're trying to extend to that overtime, which very well might actually happen. On the other side, we've seen Dark Infestor literally win multiple rounds with really, really strong G maneuvers coming out of that Hyperion. So this is not an easy spot for Sotoras Esports. They've got to push in with 45 seconds left. They are already taking quite a bit of damage from that flame grenade on the side of Red Protocol, and here's their final push, but let's see, G maneuver to G maneuver, I'm sure.
Boondiggles does end up taking out Dark Infestor, but it doesn't matter. There's the Screaming Nimbus. We're talking about value that you can get off of G maneuvers, and that's just it. That's all they needed. It was only the Screaming Nimbus that they ended up using here. So now for the hold, they're gonna have the funnels, they're gonna have the Lancer, and if they need to, the Ashmar punch. I mean, it's kind of like a mini Screaming Nimbus, right? It doesn't go quite as far.
But at the very minimum, it can stun somebody who's trying to get on point. At this point, they've only got 10 seconds left, but there we go. Gonna at least knock two suits back, get them away from the point with only 4 seconds left. I don't know if anybody's gonna be close enough to get that extended time. Wait, they are, and they get the second tick. Even if they lose here, getting that second tick. Oh no, they already had the second tick. They needed the third tick. Oh, and they do get cleaned up. I was a little bit mistaken there, but great usages of that G maneuver. Really, all the G maneuvers at the end from Tekka Dynasty, and that is going to, at the very minimum, give them game number 1 here in this losers semifinal set.
No surprise whatsoever, seeing, of course, the MVP of the day. So often it is going to be that Dom Trooper. They're just able to dish out so much damage, especially now that we've kind of fallen back, like you said, a quasi-brawl meta, quasi-death ball, right? And when you're death balled, well, that's what Dom Trooper loves, getting so much splash damage.
Yeah, the choke points on this map are also very, very good, in my opinion, for a lot of the same tools that we see doing really well in Mountain R&D, or, you know, the splash damage from Dom, the flame grenades from Ashamar, the punch from Ashamar. Obviously, we've seen a ton of great punches on this level in particular. So I feel like a lot of the ranges are kind of similar as far as what you want to use. So we see the same types of players, like Red Protocol did an amazing job this game. Dark Infestor, like I said, seems to be really popping off. Between Dark Infestor and Enders in particular, we've seen some really strong Hyperion play so far today, and the team just seems like it works so well on that map. But I felt like that was a pretty strong showing from Tekka Dynasty in particular. Sotoras they did well, you know, they didn't go down without a fight. They got the 2 ticks on the final points, but they just weren't able to make it all happen. Now they are going to have one more match to be able to, at least one more match to be able to defend themselves. They got to make it happen though. We're going to get that set up, and we'll jump into potentially our final game of the day, or a second final, right after this. Sotoras Esports life is on the line here as they have one more chance on Quarry to get back into this set. Otherwise, they will fall at 4th place. But with a pretty close showing in the previous game, I think they stand an absolute chance. However, TKD will be starting out on the offense, and with their spearhead comp, which is what I'm going to call it from here on out, it's going to be tough to stop them.
The mission is about to begin.
Yeah, I mean, it's so hard to tell, like, exactly, you know, what's making everything work for TKD at this point, because so many different players have had their moments, right? Chaotic, Dark Infestor, along with Azor and Red Protocol, all of them have been popping off at different moments throughout the day, so it's really hard to try and indicate exactly what's making them succeed. For Sotoras Esports on the other side, we're seeing them kind of almost match them in a lot of the regards when it comes to the mirror matchups. You know, Boondiggles versus Chaotic, it's been going back and forth. I think some of it might come down to kind of the differences between possibly Hawklight versus Garma right now, because Hawklight has been getting a lot of value on this Dom. We're not seeing the same kind of presence, though, from Garma Zabi on the Sotoras side.
Well, at the very minimum, I think the biggest thing so far has been G maneuvers and just the management of G maneuvers. Every time that Tekka Dynasty has needed them, it's been there, and they've gotten a lot of mileage out of it. We've seen a few from Sotoras fall off a little bit early, but we'll see if that happens in this match. Chaotic's already going to be holding that right side behind the wall, ready for that jump over, and I assume defensively we're going to see a similar thing on the other side from Boondiggles, who actually already got quite a bit of damage on him.
Yeah, and also we do have a gym. We got to see it earlier on in the day, and Sotoras will be picking that one out. Excuse me, yeah, Sotoras will be picking that one out. You got to be careful with the double burn, but Hawklight ends up finding the first knock. That's going to be Boondiggles going down. TKD having no problem whatsoever on this waypoint fight. They're not even going to push up yet. They're going to go ahead and clear out all their angles just in case before they go ahead and secure that one for themselves. Now TKD, what's their choice? Are they going to go for A or B on this plan?
I think B is going to work so well for them, to be honest. But oh my gosh, what focus fire right there. A great way to take down a sword, but gets picked back up. The repair is very quick, and then sword immediately gets back in, taking down another player. Oh, the attempt to shield into the plant isn't working. We saw the opposite attempt there earlier, and that didn't work quite as well either. It's not going to be as good as the new Gundam G maneuver into it.
They still have the B site, though, and the Mega Charge eventually will go down there. It looks like they kind of, I don't know, pulled off that plant for just a second. But this is so incredibly strong. Chaotic, he's going to be the main controller for this fight. You can see a robot playing outside, doesn't want to get caught up in the duels up against the Barbados and, you know, be casualty for that. Now, we do have Hawklight ended up going down, but where are the members of Sotoras here for this defense? They need to get start making some presence known, but they're losing out on players. One Trick Tony going down. They do end up finding a Sora at the very least, but they still need to make a full concerted 6-man effort because, again, you're going to have to deal with a Barbados who can just absolutely demolish you if you try to go for that plant.
Ooh, and Chaotic going down, getting focused. A strange punch right there, and that actually might really hurt the side of Sotoras. The fact that they just completely wasted that punch. And again, I mentioned this before, I think it really comes down a lot to G maneuvers between these two teams. Right now, Red Protocol is going to get down, but I love that immediate dash backwards. Even if you know you're going to die, you can try to die in a safer place. And that is the sign of a really strong player. And that's going to be the first site going down. We're moving on immediately to the second one. And this is looking like a great push, as usual, from Tekka Dynasty.
Very unfortunate there for Boondiggles to actually get caught on that retreat, and it looked like he just got that forward spawn, unfortunately. Now, as Chaotic tries to get into the back, he ends up losing out on that duel versus Garma, and now things are looking a little bit good for Sotoras here. But hey, TKD, they're right on the point. Armor gun as well to get that plant, and that will be B. There it is, the Screaming Nimbus. He just saw too many members ahead of him. He had to actually go ahead and use that one, and they're gonna go ahead and convert that onto some progress, onto that Mega Charge. They still have plenty to work with in the back pocket. They've got Dark Infestor. He's gonna have that Lancer. We've got the funnels as well. And so they can kind of chain those for the next 40 seconds.
And you were talking about, too, the difference between how much basically Hawklight has been getting off and on the other side, Garmazabi. Not to say that Garmazabi is not playing well, but Hawklight is just truly exceptional. Just constantly just hitting amazing G maneuvers, doing tons of damage, just solo, just everything about Hawklight. Definitely one of the MVPs of the tournament so far, and that is going to be a full defense. There's a little bit of a sneaky plant here, or at least an attempt to sneak a plant at A to pull everybody back. It did look like there wasn't a full commitment, but that was a great hold so far from Sotoras.
Chaotic with the G maneuver, though. That's going to be a 4K for him. Hawklight just to try and steal away the Hexa kill as he will go ahead and get that plant down. Not quite where you want it, especially if you want to really play around your Barbados. It's going to excel a lot more on the bottom A site, but it still works here, especially if you can find people that are just absolutely isolated like that. KHO going down. Royal Fatman, though, now here on the Pale Rider, has to deal with the Ashmore in the back. The Hades has been popped, but the punch will go ahead and put a stop to that. Still, though, we have Sotoras answering back. They still need to clean up and try and go for that defuse, though. It looks like someone is on it now.
And they should get it. Yeah, they are going to get it. Really great hold so far on this second set of bomb sites from Sotoras. It seems like once they've stopped the momentum of this ridiculous push that Tekka Dynasty has been doing in a lot of their sets, they have been able to find a lot more of a foothold. And there's a little bit of a duel down there. It looks like the health pack's going to go to KHO and give that bit of advantage. But they just need to just continue holding like they have been. 2 minutes is actually not that much time overall, especially on this site where you can get team wiped and split up very easily.
Yeah, and a minute of that time, of course, you gotta defend if you get it down early. Now here we go. Yeah, KHO, he does have that Lancer ready, it does seem, and it's gonna be followed up by Boondoggles. He's got the G maneuver as well, so two really strong ones in tow for the defense now. Tekka Dynasty basically on a full reset. It's all gonna come down to Hawklight. He's 10% away from having that Screaming Nimbus.
And we did see the... Oh, wait a minute. Here we go. This is huge. How many can you get? 3, 4? Wait, no. That was just the 3. That was just 3. We got to see them again. But that was a huge push back to the waypoint, back to the relay. There's so many members of TKD that are low. This is going to be probably a reverse wipe. And they're taking the relay all the way back. Great stuff. That is exactly how you want to see that G maneuver used. When you cannot escape it, which is literally that little Death Valley right there. We've seen so many G maneuvers do great in there. That is a perfect spot to use it.
Oh no, it seems like Hawklight actually used his G maneuver in that last fight. He must have gone down basically instantly right after he popped it. So now they basically have no tools for this offense. They did get 63.7%, of course, on that plants, but now here they have to go in. Chaotic is going to be one of the closer ones. Red Protocol also close to that punch, but I don't know if those are the tools that you want. Boondoggles is able to find that flank, and he's even got the G maneuver to finish things off. There's only 30 seconds remaining for TKD.
Oh, doesn't quite get the slam. Oh, no, does get the slam on a Sor. Then that's going to be huge. I feel like this is going to be a really tough ask from the side of TKD to actually fully plant this. They've lost too many members. Somebody needs to sneak it, but there's just such good coverage, and Boondoggles in particular has taken out about half the team during this final push without even using that G maneuver. 10 seconds left. I almost feel like you should just use it as soon as you see somebody just to confirm it. But on the other side, they've only got the punch, and that's probably not going to be enough. Final push here, but somebody needs to get on the bomb.
Yeah, Red Protocol actually finds 2. They need to start planting here, and they need to commit onto it. They do have Boondoggles, though, popping that G maneuver, and unfortunately doesn't really get much off of it, as it looks like they will go ahead and secure that defense. Sotoras Esports, things looked a little bit iffy for them after that first waypoint fight at the beginning of the round, but they did end up establish a foothold for themselves here in the second half of the map.
I feel like they've really found their footing. It's a term I used before, but it's true. It seems like when you fight against Tekka Dynasty, they're just so offensively strong that you're like, whoa, what is going on? You know, you're like, hold on a second. And luckily, just in time, it seems like Sotoras has found maybe not their true answer, but at least a good way to fight back. You know, they managed to stop the second plant. But now they have to be on the offense themselves, which is going to be a whole different story against a team like Tekka Dynasties. I'm not sure exactly what their comp's going to be.
Yeah, I mean, we got to see so many different looks from all these players, right? So we do. I think it's very indicative, though, for TKD, the fact that they have Chaotic in, and then him sticking to Barbados, no question whatsoever. Dark Infestor does have, of course, some more that he can draw upon if he wants to go back and play more towards his roots, he can. But right now, I think this is basically the look that everyone wants to try and run with. I really like it a lot, especially kind of swapping out the Pale Rider. We had a lot of Pale Rider domination, and seeing the Hyperion Gundam coming in and immediately having a huge effect on the meta, it's really fun to see.
Yeah, just off the bat, and without being like dominant in the meta either. It's not like we're seeing like one suit that's suddenly like everybody has to use it. The entire game's based around them. It's just like, okay, this adds a lot to a lot of teams. It lets people play a little bit more flexibly. Really, really enjoying seeing it. But how will it work defensively? Probably pretty well, but we'll see where the first push goes. Seems like we are probably going to just hold behind the box like usual on the defensive side. Nothing too special.
Yeah, and we got to see some great play coming out from Chaotic the last time we were on Quarry, just controlling that high ground. But as soon as I say that, Boondiggles ends up winning out on that duel, taking him out now. Royal Fatman charges forward with his squad as Boondiggles tries to jump in to find more targets, but you can see TKD instantly give that one up. They don't want to stagger too hard, but they're getting chased down.
Ooh, One Trick Tony just barely alive, pulling up that shield just in case anybody throws out any pot shots. But this is looking like, honestly, a great push overall from Sotoras. Oh, but they get picked twice. Boondiggles and Garma both getting picked. However, Garma getting picked back up. So there is a chance potentially to plant here. They did knock down Hawklight at least as well. They're kind of splitting between two different sites, though. So I'm not sure if they're going to get that sort of full team wipe that they need.
Yeah, I mean, it's more like splitting apart your defenses, right? We see this quite often where teams will kind of maybe send 2 members, 3 members on over towards either site to kind of maximize their chances at least getting a plant down. And there it is, the Mega Charge going down onto point A. We'll see, though, if Sotoras can try and defend this one, but Tekka Dynasty finding a lot of value here. Sword cleaning up one and getting the res onto a robot. They're just making sure that they're clearing out all their angles. You can see the threat of Boondiggles is up here, but the Ashmar punch go ahead and shut that one down so they can get the Mega Charge defuse.
Ooh, I like being able to see that high angle right there. Just see the attempt from Boondiggles to get that little pick on whoever was defusing, but they knew. They had a great sense of awareness there, maybe even just hearing the footsteps, and they were not allowing that to happen. So now it looks like we're going to see a coordinated push over towards B. Ooh, nice Hyper Hammer snipe.
It was unfortunate that there weren't more members here, or he would have instantly been funneled down. Now Keicho going for the chase. He runs into a Suzabi. That's going to be a Sora on the other side. One Trick Tony now trying to go aggressive. The Hyper Hammer doesn't even need it. Never mind. Hawklight is here. He ends up picking up 2.
Oh, look at that. That's actually potentially a lot of pickups right there. I saw a lot of like downed suits, but there wasn't a lot of confirmed kills, but there we go too. I mean, hey, you get the team kill. It almost doesn't matter how many are up. This is going to be a full reset. And oh wow, those mines are gonna hit actually. Those mines were like right there, like a step forward, and that would have been enough. Oh, this is such a great place to defend with Dom.
Whew, he had to be careful. He had 6 members of Sotoras actually swinging him there. Somehow he survives. Sotoras do push up on the high ground, and Lao looks like they want to try and make a push for A, but they ended up losing out on the stragglers in the back. Boondiggles, though, trying his best on this Barbados to find himself some value, but he's getting chased down. 195 HP and a dream. Really can't get anything here, so it's only him and Tony, and really it was Tony that needed that health back. But hey, you know what, he's gonna go ahead and pick that one up. So Taurus now basically down to one final push here, 1 minute and 22 seconds. But on the other side, they have to deal with so many defensive G maneuvers, almost everything online for Tekka Dynasty.
They pushed so well into that first waypoint, but the relay was just not able to give them the positioning they needed. And here we go. This is a chance. They've got a good amount of people, and the G maneuvers popping off on B. This looks like this could be a plant, especially with Garmazabi just knocking around so many different members of the other team. But they're not even taking the chance to plant there. There's just too many resources coming in from Tekka Dynasty. They haven't even used their G maneuvers, and all 6 of them are available.
That was 3 G maneuvers being utilized by Sotoras Esports, and they got almost nothing off of that. There was maybe 1 kill, 2 kills, but that was instantly repaired as well. The Mega Charge, though, does go down for Sotoras Esports. We'll see if they have anything in the tank, really. Honestly, they don't, but we do have the Screaming Nimbus now coming out from TKD to try and clean up, as the Barbados G maneuver will be utilized, but he ends up getting cleaned out. And now Tekka Dynasty, they're gonna have the funnels, they're gonna have that Lancer just to buy space for the Mega Charge defuse if they need it. No, they're gonna be able to do that cleanly and hold on to 4 G maneuvers for the final 10 seconds of this map.
And Chaotic is going to be popping his, and that is going to take down 2 players on the side of Sotoras Esports. There's the Lancer. This is almost a full team kill, and there it is. And that is going to guarantee the win in this round, in the set, and it's going to push Team Tekka Dynasty towards our top 3 tomorrow to join Mafty and Last Second.
Man, incredible play there. And I really do want to call out like the fact that Tekka Dynasty, we see a lot of teams typically kind of stick around way too long when it comes to that waypoint fight. But as soon as they ended up losing out on Chaotic, they gave it up. They backed away, so they didn't get staggered. They could have tried to fight for the waypoint and maybe burn some time. But in that regard, you leave an opening at that point for Sotoras Esports to come in and get a plant, and now you're playing on the back foot. But instead, they made sure that, hey, we lost Chaotic, let's back away, give this one up, and then regroup as a full 6-man and just put on an amazing defense.
I totally agree with you on that. It's really the like bend but don't break strategy, and we see that out of Mafty in particular. And I do agree with you. I think that Tekka has been showing that they are so good at doing that as well. I think a lot of that comes with the confidence that that your teammates are going to back you up in a choice to back up, right? And it shows when you have teams that it looks like they're winning, it looks like they get a great push, but then suddenly the defensive team bounces back, and that's what we see from Mafty all the time. It's what we've been seeing from Tekka. And it is just a sign that these players are gelling together and improving so well. I'm really glad that Tekka is in our top 3, of course, tomorrow. But Sotoras Esports, they played extremely well. They didn't get shut out by any means there. They managed to defend very, very well. They were almost there on the plant, but overall, it was just really great stuff.
Yeah, amazing play coming out from them. Glad that they are moving forward. And big question of, where Sotoras stands. I honestly think, they still have a lot of room for improvement, but we saw some great things for them. And so I'm looking forward to our next event when they're going to be competing again, because like we always say, we are seeing teams just consistently, exponentially get better. So it's only up from here for them.
It is, and we can see our bracket now to see where everybody landed overall in the day. Of course, we do know for a fact tomorrow is going to be starting off with Mafty versus Last Seconds, 2 incredible teams that are going to be in our winners finals. On the bottom side, we are going to have Tekka Dynasty, who did make second from a 3rd place lower finals spots, a lower bracket spot before, so they could definitely do it again, but they are looking stronger than ever as well. And then we have Sotoras making it out at 4th. The unfortunate Portland Burnsiders Deathsiders mirror ended up happening, but Portland Burnsiders made it out on top there, tying for 5th with Skill Issue, and then Iron-Blooded Orangutans and the Deathsiders making out at 8th. And I do believe we had Allies coming out at 9th, which is a little bit earlier than this bracket, than our top 8 bracket. But overall, the showings from every team have been looking really good. We had some dominance from Mafty over the past few tournaments, and I think we still had some dominance today, but I feel like the level of play of all of the other teams aside from Mafty has been looking incredible today, maybe better than it ever has.
Again, I mean, when you're at the top, of course, like eventually everyone else has to rise up to you, right? There has to be some sort of limit. I don't know if Mafty have reached it because they haven't been challenged that hard quite yet, but eventually you are going to reach it, and that's going to allow other people to catch up. So hopefully tomorrow we get to see some close matches, even though today was largely 2-0s. I think we might actually get to see a really good lower bracket at the very least.
I completely agree. And that is, of course, going to be at 2 p.m. Eastern tomorrow and 11 a.m. Pacific, the same time that we started today. As usual, we'll be having our top 3 teams battle out to see who will be the champion, who will take home the most amount of points towards qualifying and getting the best seeding in the Pilot Academy, the official Pilot Academy League. So you're definitely going to not want to miss that. I think this is one of the best top 3s that we are going to potentially ever have. And I'm not just saying that because it's hype. I truly do believe that, especially with whoever fights in that losers finals match. But is there anything else that you'd like to say before we close out for the day, Jamerson?
No, I'm just extremely happy about what we were able to see today. The immediate splash that Hyperion has had. You know, not very few units have had that kind of splash upon release or being able to play right in competitive, right? When Zaku 2 Melee came out of the competitive quarantine, not the same kind of splash. New Gundam got introduced, not the same kind of splash. This is a completely different unit. I absolutely love seeing the play coming out from all of our Hyperion players today.
Yeah, and again, a splash without being like too much of a splash, right? You don't want to cause a tidal wave. It just needs to be the perfect level of splash, and Hyperion for sure hit that. So once again, huge thank you to every single team that didn't make it to tomorrow. We're all still super happy that you played, and hopefully you enjoyed your experience, and hopefully you'll be back for the next one. Of course, we've got a few different tournaments coming up. I know there's a different non-Gundam Evolution New Type League tournament coming up in, I think, a week or 2 weeks, and that's going to be part of the Pilot Academy as well. So I'm sure you can do, I think it's !Pilot Academy in chat, or maybe Craze will do it, but be sure to check that out. And of course, before any of that happens, be sure to tune in tomorrow. I'll say it once again, 2 p.m. Pacific, or sorry, 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific, right on this channel. We're going to see our top 3 teams play it out. You don't want to miss it. We'll see you all there. See you tomorrow.